Moist Meter was brought to you by Amazon Music. Sign up for free below using our referral code.
Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at Loki. It's extremely hard for me to get excited for anything Marvel related these days because we've just been inundated with the content for so long now, just constantly fisted with superhero shit, so I don't really get giddy for the next big Marvel release. Not because I think they're bad or anything, I always do enjoy them when I watch them. I'm not one of those aggressive Twitter users that are irrationally angry about Marvel stuff where they'll march into a 8th graders Avenger themed birthday party and just slam their fist into the cake and spit in their face telling them that it's bad movies. I do find them enjoyable, they're just forgettable, and there's just way too much of it. I still haven't even finished Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but Loki I always found to be a very interesting character in the universe, so I definitely did want to finish this one. And I'm glad I did. I enjoyed it. I found it to be unique in the way that it introduces an absolutely major thing for the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. I don't want to spoil anything about this because if you're going in here not knowing anything, I think it's going to be a lot better. I knew nothing about where this was heading, nor did I have any expectations, and I think it was better that way. I thought this was just going to be some kind of cash-in where it's here's Loki in the past. He's pretending to be D.B. Cooper. Watch him fuck ass and eat pussy. But it wasn't really a cash-in at all, I felt. This really seemed like they had a great idea for the character and how to progress the series forward. This wasn't just a throwaway show. It really had huge implications on the entire universe of Marvel, I feel, in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I respect that. I think they did it in a very bold way. I liked it quite a bit, to be honest. Of course, there were some things that were pretty weak about the show, which I'll get to in a minute. I want to start on a positive note. I really liked a lot of the new characters they introduced here. I think they introduced an extremely great villain too, by the way, but I don't want to spoil anything there. So I'll start with the new characters that I really liked. So obviously I probably can't even say my favorite character because that would probably be a spoiler too. So I'll start with my second favorite character, Owen Wilson. My fucking boy, Owen Wilson is in this movie, in this show. Wow. He crushes it. I fucking love Owen Wilson. I've always liked him as an actor. I think he's just charming and fun to watch. He plays a really cool character named Mobius, which is the name of a Yu-Gi-Oh card too, and just an awesome name. And when he's in any scene here, it's hard not to just like him. He just has this sage wisdom about him and this swagger that's just cute. Probably a weird word for it, but I don't know. There's something about Owen Wilson playing Mobius here that I just really appreciated. I thought there was a lot of chemistry between him and Loki, so they'd banter back and forth and it just felt pretty natural. And I could really respect that. It felt like actual conversations that two pretty smart people would have, where both of them are trained liars and both trained to pick apart lies. So it's this battle of intellect that, you'd watch as two Redditors duke it out in the comments. I just really liked Mobius. I thought the character did really well. I thought in the last episode it was a little, I'm not going to get... It's kind of hard to talk about this show, to be honest, because if you don't know what it's trying to set up, even talking about it's a spoiler. So I won't. But yeah, Mobius is great. Another thing I really liked about it is a spoiler. Jesus Christ. The show's good. Yeah, I really like the narrative. Okay, this has a lot of things that I like. It has a super secret organization doing some very big things that may or may not involve time. And I've always had a very soft spot for that. It oftentimes leads to really convoluted plot lines, but here I think they do a good enough job with it as a plot device. So I liked it. I also liked a lot of the visuals, but not all of them. Sometimes it really felt like it was unfinished at certain points. This is going to get into a couple complaints. There were times when watching this where I was like, man, that just doesn't look that good. Especially for something as huge budget as a Marvel production. It was like, wow, that kind of looks like ass. There were definitely some moments throughout this where I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, what happened here? Who's using Maya in the college courses right now to make this? It felt off sometimes. And the fighting was bad. Almost all of the action was pretty bad. There were very few times... this is one of the rare Marvel shows where the action is not going to be the highlight. Because there were very few times in this where there was anything more than a couple of punches that would get caught and turned to the side, and then deliver a punch of their own, or maybe a stab in the back. It was really underwhelming in terms of the high-octane action department. I also felt it was stupid that the bad guys use electric batons with a twist. You would think with the kind of crazy technology this organization has, they would have the idea to use like projectiles because it's significantly more efficient, but they're just using like these 2-inch fucking wet noodle floppy dildo electric batons, and then they're surprised when it's a pretty highly inefficient weapon against most people. So that was kind of dumb too. But yeah, I thought that was like one of the glaring weaknesses of this, is the action was really not good. Which really, I guess, does fit in line with Loki as a character. He's more about mischief and using intellect and wits to outsmart his opponents as opposed to just like brute force his way through it. But pretty much every episode has a couple of fight scenes, and they're just not very good. There is other action besides just like hand-to-hand combat, and I think in that regard it's done well. I can't explain what kind that is, but because that would be a spoiler, but I do like that component as opposed to like the actual traditional fighting stuff, because it's kind of stinky. It doesn't really do super well here. It's a show that very clearly wanted the emphasis to be on its characters and its story, and I think it succeeds in that regard. That's not to say every character is good though. In fact, one of the main bad guys who's introduced, not the huge villain, but one of like the smaller mini bosses, is not fleshed out at all, and a lot of the things they say and do aren't really thoroughly explored nor explained and seem really weak because of that. So you'll have this character that's kind of this loose cannon, and they're doing things that don't really add up, and they're saying things that kind of contradict with the things they've been doing, and you never really know their goal or anything. And I imagine that's setting that character up to be a bigger character in Season 2, which is confirmed. But for Season 1, I feel like they still could have done a little bit more making this character a more grounded and fleshed out. I think it would have done wonders to make them more interesting. Because when they're there, it's more of kind of like this sigh, like, ugh, guess we have to, hear more from this character going on about something that we don't really care about. Would rather go to the bigger stuff. So that was a little disappointing. But overall, I did enjoy the show a lot. There are some weaknesses for sure, but I thought it was a very fun ride and a very interesting one, and I'm extremely excited to see where this actually takes the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This made me a lot more interested in the future Marvel projects, since it's going to be following the events that happen here, I imagine. So that was nice, and yeah, let's plug this into the Moist Meter. I'm giving Loki an 80%. I think this is absolutely worth a watch. I think this is probably the better Marvel show they've made so far. I thought it was enjoyable. It never really falls off or anything. Like with WandaVision, I was really enjoying the first few episodes, but as it continued on, I got less and less interested and really didn't like the conclusion all that much. But here, I was interested the whole way, and it only kept increasing as it kept introducing more and more wrenches into the cogs of the story, and I appreciated that. I thought it was very well done. That's about it. See ya.